All right. Welcome. To whom do I have this beautiful honor?
I'm Joanne Jones.
Joanne Jones.
Yeah.
The lovely Joanne Jones. Thank you so much for being here at the MTIP Collective on this evening. Tell us, Joanne, what is it that you do? Where are you from? Tell us a little bit about your background.
What do I do? I've been a real estate agent for 20 years. I'm with Compass, Florida. I'm one of the founding agents.
Oh, wow.
For Compass. Yeah, so I've been there for 10 years. We opened our first office on Lincoln Road, which is our headquarters. And then since then, we've just grown like wildfire throughout all of Florida and the United States.
I've heard wonderful things about Compass. I know you guys are very tech savvy or a very advanced company.
Yeah.
And I see you guys close some big deals.
Yeah.
In the residential space. Is that what you do, residential?
I do residential.
Amazing. Yeah. And so, like today, in your day-to-day grind, are you using any kind of AI in your business? What is your hype about AI? What do you know about AI?
I use AI every day.
Oh, wow.
Yeah.
What?
Just to answer questions. It has weaved its way into my life. I'm a writer by nature, but I use it to rewrite stuff. I use it to get clarity on ideas or what's the difference between this and that. I use it to look at recipes.
We're talking about what, like ChatGPT?
Yeah.
So you're like a ChatGPT holic. You're on it every day and you just time at it.
Yes.
That's interesting because a lot of the people I talk to, that's their go-to now. They use it as like a business consultant, an assistant to just help them chime into these answers.
Yeah.
What other ways do you use AI?
That's really the only way that I use AI. I know that there's so many other ways to use it, but I haven't.
Yeah.
I haven't tried. And I'm open because obviously it's the wave of the future. One has to stay up on technology, but I learn by doing. So it's probably going to be something where, there's a task and then I'm introduced to learning how to do the task via AI and it's more efficient. And so I'll start using it like the way that I started using it now.
Who got you into it? Or it was something you just heard online?
I think both. Like I heard about it online and then a friend of mine's look it up on ChatGPT. Ask AI. And I'm like, huh? So then I had to figure out how to ask AI. And I've been asking AI ever since.
Do you find yourself talking to it?
Yeah, I downloaded, and here's a way that I use AI.
Okay.
I use an AI therapist.
Okay, that's amazing.
Yeah, there's an app I think it's called Align.
Align, okay.
And so whenever I'm like trying to work something out in my head, like on a personal level, I can use ChatGPT or I use Align, which is an AI therapist, and I could ask it to help me work through things. Like if I'm I'm jammed up about something.
That's Isaac.
Triggered about something. When you get triggered in life, like somebody upsets you, there's two parts to it. They upset you and they probably crossed the boundary, but the reason why you got upset is usually a deeper issue.
Sure.
So when you work through that deeper issue, when people do whatever it is that they're doing, it doesn't affect you as much. So I use it a lot of times for that, for example, like if I get triggered and I get triggered around abandonment, right? So I'll use the AI like, this is what happened. And how do you think this triggered my abandonment issues and how can I work through that? So as I work through the abandonment issues, when somebody does something like not call me back in time or leave me on red for a day, I don't lose apart.
Yeah.
Because they're just living their life. They're doing their thing.
Listen, that's incredible. The fact that you can actually this is over voice or over text?
Either way.
That's really amazing.
Yeah.
The fact that you can conversate with this creature, this thing
that
didn't exist before.
Yeah.
And it's objective and it's like a real therapist.
Right.
That's definitely. I actually do the same. In a variety of different ways. And I use all the different types of language models. There's Grok and there's Meta AI and there's ChatGPT. There's a variety of different ones and they all do different things. But I do enjoy conversating. I like having philosophical conversations with AI.
Me too.
I like the conversation of, and this is a big one for me, is what's going to happen to everybody's jobs? Like, if everyone is going to get supposedly replaced by AI, that's the idea. what are we going to do all day? Outside of enjoying the beach here at South Beach and Mansell Beach.
Does it say we're going to do?
It says that it's most likely going to create a state of euphoric bliss for a lot of people, meaning everyone's going to have some kind of universal basic income, which means, I don't want to call it Social Security, but you're going to get paid a check out by the government. And that's going to sustain your minimal baseline needs. Think about it. Our grandparents, our great-grandparents, if you had a driver, you were a millionaire, you were rich. Or like, hey, Uber. 5 minutes later, you get someone pick you up on command. Yeah. But what's going to happen to that same Uber when it's autonomous and there is no driver? So the cost of that $10 ride, which used to be $1,000 or $2,000 or $5,000 driver, is going to become like $1.
Yeah.
So you don't need to earn as much. And that's what's crazy. So they're saying that's what's going to happen. And then people are going to just start doing things that are created to them, like writing this book.
Yeah.
This is your book, right?
Yeah.
It's called Buying Miami, the must-have guide to purchasing a home. Joanne Jones.
Yeah.
Tell us about this book. Share us with how long did it take you to write? What is it about?
It didn't really take me long to write it. It took me a few months to write it. And I wrote it during COVID because we were all at home and it was quiet. I'm like, oh, let me work on my website. So it started off as content for my website.
Okay.
But then it started to grow, like in the sense that I got my real estate attorney, Jody Strang, to help me with the legal aspect of it, the legal aspect of buying a property. I got my home inspector to help me with like things that you need to know on the home inspection. I got the mortgage broker to break down the mortgage, getting a loan and all of that. I love it. I had a title company explain about the title. And then I included a glossary in the back because a lot of times we speak a language.
Yeah.
So we have our own language in real estate.
Absolutely.
If you're buying for the first time, you don't really understand what an escrow account is. And so I have a glossary in the back of the book. And it just really breaks down what you need to know. And what's interesting is that I wrote it for buyers, either first-time home buyers or people who are buying in Miami for the first time. Maybe they have purchasing experience, but when I showed up, my broker bought it for all the new agents and all the new admin people that maybe started working for Compass, but they pulled them from another profession. So they don't know anything about real estate.
That's really
it's been that's like an off-label use, you might say, for the book as for someone. And it's really good for new agents because when we go to real estate school, they teach us how to stay out of jail. They don't really teach us how to do real estate. So if you're a brand new agent, it's a great book to read. And it's an easy read.
It looks like it. It looks like something I can read in really an afternoon or a short evening. It's really
it's in short bits.
And if you guys wanted to get a copy of this, where can they get a copy of this?
Amazon.
I mean, on Amazon. So head to Amazon, type in Joanne Jones, Buying Miami, and grab yourself a copy because if you have little experience, no experience, just briefly looking at this and listening to you, this looks like there's a ton of value in here, and I would highly recommend you do it. I'm going to probably either buy this radio and I'll keep one for you and I'll read it myself and I'll give you some feedback.
I would love it. Now I'm working on volume 2 because that's like about 3 years old. Time flies.
Wow, yeah.
And new stuff comes up. I want to add a part about renters. I deal a lot with renters, and renting in Miami is almost as difficult as renting in New York, I would say. Like when it comes in,
is that where you're originally from?
No, I was born in Baptist Hospital. I'm born and raised second generation Miami.
Okay.
Yeah. Been here my whole life. But yeah, I spent a lot of time explaining to renters the process of renting. And that's the section I'm going to add. And then I'm going to add a section on how the condo buildings have changed, the laws around condos have changed, and how it affects the cost of a condo.
Sure.
So I'm going to add that and just a couple other little things that have come up and update some sections because Miami and real estate is ever changing and the laws change and the market changes. And
how is the market for you as an active broker agent, what you're doing every day?
It's funny because people are like, how's the market? It's such a broad question. And it's either, first of all, there's always somebody making money in real estate no matter what the market is.
That is true.
Okay. But Are you asking me how is the market for end users? For you? Oh, for me, the market is always busy because I have a plethora of different types of buyers and sellers, right? So I have people that I manage their portfolio. So they have a number of properties and I manage them for them. Like that, like I handle all the rentals.
Sure.
And then I have investors, which right now the market is pretty good for investors if you're a cash buyer. And
That's what I hear. I hear it's starting to soften to become a buyer's market.
yeah, I would say it is softened to get up to be a buyer's market. And then you have the market for sellers and you have a market for buyers, but you have an end user market and then you have an investor market.
So what's your need? What's your specialty? What are you known for?
I would say probably number one, buyers, just hence buying Miami. I've just always gravitated towards working with buyers. But then I have listings as well, and I have renters, and I don't do much commercial, but I do handle real estate portfolios for people. It's hard to say. Like, I do a little bit of everything. Hell, I've been doing it for 20 years. So
That's a hot minute.
yeah.
And what would you say is your number one way to get new business today outside of referrals? What would you do, or what do you do?
No, my whole business is it's mostly referral based.
It's referral based.
It's relationship based.
I want to provoke your mind. Okay, you're a new agent, you're 20 years old, you just started, got your license, you're young, you're fresh out of college. You want to get in this business and you want to go after buyers or you want to go after listings, whatever that may be. What do you do? How do you get started?
I would say probably the easiest, it's tried and true, but Zillow listings, Zillow leads, you're going to pay an arm and a leg for them. But if you're brand new and you have nothing else, buy your leads.
Buy leads.
Buy leads. But that's a whole can of worms because like I tried to buy leads before and I've gotten burned more often than I've had.
Why do you feel like you're getting burned when you buy leads? Regardless of where you're buying it from, what is the obstacle with the leads?
The leads suck.
The leads suck.
Yeah, they're not really ready to list or they're a buyer, and the buyer leads are sometimes better because I know how to create relationship and rapport pretty quickly because I just have been doing this for so long. So they,
You got to run with them. You got to get this to go.
Yeah. But I would say the best thing to do is as soon as you get a lead is to try to meet them in person. Ask them a lot of questions. If they want to see a property, say, okay, what do you want to see it? Meet me there tomorrow at 3.
That's a great piece of advice.
Because in a world where people don't want to get on the phone, you need to meet someone face to face. And I learned that a long time ago. If you want a sale to happen, if you want to connect with someone, meet them in person.
That's so true. That is so true.
Isn't it?
That's why we made this space. Because to give you some backdrop, because we've known each other for about 30 minutes. So I've been doing this for 20 years. And when I graduated and I semi-retired, when I moved from LA to Miami, I realized I thought I could just buy leads, which is what I was really good at, and distribute them to my agents. And I had 100 agents in LA. And eventually I said, I'm going to get rid of my brokerage. I'm going to get rid of all the agents, and I'm just going to feed them leads. All these people, and they go to any brokers they want. Because I know at the end of the day, people want to grow their business. They're timid. They don't want to spend money or spend the same capital as a business owner. They want really good leads. And if you have that, they're hooked. They're with you forever, regardless of what your split is, etc. So eventually I ended up starting to solicit realtors nationally. And I said, hey, I'm an investor. I'm looking to buy real estate in your local market. I don't need you to spend $1. I'll spend the money on the lead gen. I want you to buyer rep me. And if I don't do a deal, you could go get the listing. And if it doesn't work out, with the buyer, you get the listing, you pay me out a referral. And that became a system that I grew into over 1,000 agents.
Wow.
Yeah, most people don't know this. But what was the failure in this was I spent the capital. I assumed that specific person would know its local market and that would help me convert. It didn't happen that way. And so as I spent, I think over $1 million in lead,
wow,
I realized these people are not the problem. They're just used to referrals. They're used to very soft closes. They don't know how to do hard, cold. They're not there yet. And so when I came back to open up a real estate business, which is what we do here as well, I said, you need a physical location. And Joan and I need to be in the same room. And whether we go after these types of buyers or those kinds of, when we're in the same room together and the client has a physical location to come to, we have the highest likelihood, to make money together. And that's how you actually make money. It's in person, as you just said, to reaffirm what you just said. And I couldn't agree with you more. I want to divert. I want to ask you something personal, maybe something a little deeper. In your whole 20-year career, okay, I want you to talk about a very difficult, hard, traumatic, almost borderline experience you had to go through and you overcame, if you don't mind sharing, that it could be business, it could be personal, but really what that story was and what did you do with the steps to help you overcome that obstacle and persevere the way you did?
Wow, that is a very personal question. I took a hiatus from real estate from 2012 to 2016, and I went to South Carolina. I reconnected with a childhood friend. We got married, and then we got divorced, and I came back to Miami in 2016, which is when I started working from Compass. And I was going through a divorce and I had to start my real estate business, not all over again, because I did have clients and friends and people from living here my whole life.
Sure.
But I came back and I took on a real estate partner. And I felt like I needed her to get into the luxury market.
Okay.
But it didn't end up working out very well. And we had a pretty unfortunate departure. Let's say we broke up.
That happens.
Yes. And I realized that I underestimated myself and how much I brought to the table of that partnership. And how I overcame it was really like learning how to have my own confidence and really realizing you really do bring a lot of value and knowledge and relationships to the table, and you don't need anybody to leverage that. You just need to focus as beyond what I bring. And when I did that and I got over the loss, I realized that I lost because I thought that I needed her in order to make a real estate business. And in retrospect, I realized I brought her so much more and I brought so much more to the table. And so much time I went through life and I was proving that I deserved a seat at the table when really I was one of the most valuable people at the table.
I love that.
So until I really grasped that, not in I'm better than you way, there's a lot of humility that comes to it. It's a quiet humility, but realizing, yeah, I do deserve a seat at this table. In fact, I could probably buy the whole table.
Good for you. That's a wonderful story. Yeah. And from what I heard you say, it's really just first have enough self-love in yourself to recognize your gifts, your talents.
Yeah.
And don't let anyone demote you. And don't be scared. That's what I also heard from your story, which is if you're in an uncomfortable position for whatever reason, know that you can walk away and you're going to be fine. Yeah, other than fine, you're probably going to be better. You're going to succeed more than you did.
Yeah, it was hard. I remember one time I had to give her something that, we always split everything 50-50 with her. And then it came time for her to split a commission and it was like 70-30. And I'm like, what the what? And to her, like I always gave her 50% of my commission. And then it came a time where she was supposed to split it with me 50-50. And when I got my check, I did the math and it was like 70-30.
Oh, so she deceived you.
Correct. She only gave me 30% and it was supposed to be.
Was it that one time? That was it? That was the one time?
Well, that was like towards the end. So yeah, after that happened, and I remember, of course, getting very upset about it. And then as I processed it more, I just heard a little voice inside of me that says, you know what? just give her the 70% because you will always make money out of what you do.
You're amazing.
So just give it to her because obviously she needs it more than you do. Cut your losses and move on. Because if you just focus on yourself and how I can be of service to people, and in my vocation, it's a service.
Of course.
So if I just focus on being of service, whether I'm doing a $2,500 rental or $25 million listing, just focus on that and you will always make money.
That's really solid advice. And yeah, I really agree with what you said. And I always pick my battles. And I realized that, and this is how I figure out whether I should fight over something financially. Let me give you some of my juice here. If I make $1 million a year, you reverse engineer that, it's $500 an hour. That's what it translates to. So then I calculate how many hours do I have to devote to attacking this person to try to get what I need. It's less than what I'm actually fighting for, just like an attorney. I think just like an attorney. I go, it's not worth it. I'm going to what? Bon voyage, enjoy the money, goodbye. Because I know my time's worth more on that next transaction. So I totally agree with you. Not everybody sees life that way. It takes a lot of maturity, I think a lot of experience, and again, self-love and value to be able to recognize that when these predicaments happen. Because people don't always, unfortunately, live up to who they say they are.
No.
Another trick to get to the juice is break bread with people. The second you exchange some kind of goods for services and money, you see the true character of a person.
You really do.
Yeah, that's crazy.
That's why I think people underestimate the value of meeting in person. Like when you get a lead, when you get an online lead, yeah, you're going to vet them, vet them. But don't sit there and ask them like 1,000 questions. Do you have proof of funds? Are you make a meeting with them? Oh, you want to meet them in person, because when you meet them in person,
it's a gauge.
Number one, were they on time? How are they? You're going to see the car. You're going to see how they're dressed. You're going to get so much more information by their energy and their vibe.
Absolutely.
You're going to know right away, do you trust this person or not? Should you lead with this or you should lead with that? And let them talk. Just ask them a few questions and let them talk. They'll tell you everything that you need to know.
So I think that's good advice in the dating world too.
Oh, yeah.
Oh, with the whole thing with the online dating and all these apps, and it's just leads. It's really that if you come.
Meet them in front. I do the same thing. I'm not on dating apps, but when I would just be like, all right, let's meet and you don't have to take me out to a $500. You don't even know me. Sure, mate. Let's just go out for coffee.
Yeah.
Let's see if we like each other. And if so, then we'll decide what we're going to do.
Absolutely. Yeah. I want to ask you another question. If you could go back in time and talk to the younger version of you, the starting out version, and you had 5 minutes and only 5 minutes, but you want to share or convey a message, what would you say and why?
I would say if it's real estate related, focus and learn how to get and service listings.
Go after listings.
Go after listings, because if you have the inventory, you have the power.
I love that.
Yeah.
You and I are going to get along.
Yeah. Go after listing. I always defaulted into buyers, so I'm really good at, but I would say go after the listings. Continuously learn. Know your contract. Learn your contract. Understand your contract. I always did that, and always be learning new things in real estate. Real estate is a very fast-paced business, so you have to know what you're doing. A lot of times you learn by mistake, though, and I would say don't get. For me personally, I took a job one time doing transaction coordination, and I'm not a paper pusher. Like, I can't sit behind a desk.
It drives you crazy.
It drives me crazy. So don't learn it, but don't be out. I'm better served in front of people.
It's not that that's a bad job or it's just not for you. But
yeah,
it's identifying what you like to do and just do that to be great at that.
Yeah, I like people.
I like people too.
I like interacting with people. I like spending time with people. I would say I'm a people person.
That's good. Yeah, it's important.
Better than paper pushing. I can do it. I do it. But
so let's touch on that last point is sellers, going after sellers. What's your number one way to get sellers after 20 years of life experience? Again, outside of referrals, no hand-me-downs. You have to go and hunt. How would you hunt to get a seller today?
Farming. Be consistent. For me, I'm into I'm on Miami Beach, so I sell condos. I live in a condo. So the best thing is I pick 2 buildings. I do a postcard, interesting, fun postcards. Like I have a little dog, right? And in my building, I have a little dog and they always see me with a little dog. So my joke is just like that. I turned into a middle-aged woman with a little dog. Like back in the day, the realtors with the little dog, make fun. So like I make fun of that. But I do
Farming and hitting them with some postcards, and that's a great idea.
just be consistent and pick 2 buildings, maybe even do a website for the building. One building I have a website for, and or do postcards twice a month. It's not that expensive.
Sure.
Don't pick a building with 500 units.
Sure.
And know your email list, not your email list, your mailing list, or make sure that it's very well curated.
That's good advice. Ms. Jones, this has been a delight. I really appreciate this quick little nugget picking out of you. We'll do this again.
Okay.
I appreciate you coming here today.
Thank you for having me.
And yeah, you're a wealth of knowledge, and I'm very happy I met you.
Yes.
Thank you.
Thank you.
See you soon.
Okay.